Hey Mara,
Hi.
we are earlier on live today. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Good. So today's topic is sex and money and
Yeah,
simply money.
and
And,
simply
I-
money. Okay.
and simply, yeah. And I saw that yesterday on your wall, one of our coaches
Yeah, of
I
course.
stumbled.
Yeah.
Paige Royal, she said she's excited to hear this and that she's wondering how the both are related, sex and money, how they are related. And I don't know, we just decided to talk about it and let's see where it takes us.
Sure.
If they are really related or not. What do you think? Are they related in any way? Or,
I,
yeah.
for me personally, I've had personal experiences where they go very well together, or actually, for me personally, being really highly in touch with my own sexual energy.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about sex and money being a type of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I'm really like enjoying my sexual energy, it directly relates to how I'm experiencing the money in my life.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I have actually done, I was raising money for a film I was producing,
Uh-huh.
and I wanted to, we needed an extra 6 grand or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I forget exactly how much the amount was at that particular moment in our raising of it, but I had just earned some money from working with someone, and I had cash for that particular session, and I was like, ooh, money coming in, the energy of money coming into you, being given to you for work that people appreciate. I want to raise or bring that energy closer to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just taken a workshop on making money your lover,
Uh-huh.
which
Mm-hmm.
I can talk a little bit more about, but I was inspired to lay the cash out all over my bed and just get naked. And I rolled around in the money,
Mm-hmm.
and I took sexy photos of myself, and showed it to some friends to push the energy outwards. And I just sort of felt alivened, which is what I think
Mm-hmm.
really good sex does for us, is like
Mm-hmm.
aliven us and make us feel abundant.
Uh-huh.
We don't really feel like we need so much after we've had a really good sexual
Right.
experience.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I love what you're saying. It suddenly just feels so congruent to me as well and resonates in many ways how I have experienced the both in my own life. But yeah, go on,
Yeah,
please.
absolutely. um, anyway, so I did that. I felt really good about it. I shared the experience also with a boyfriend of mine at the time, and he was a part of that film. So I said, let's co-create, merge our, we both want more money to come into this project. So let's have sex.
Yeah.
Let's make the baby grow.
Yeah.
um, anyway, we raised the 6 grand that we needed in a very short amount of time after I played with the money and like making love to it in
Mm.
that way. Um, and then we raised even more. We raised more than we needed, and were able to get more done for the film than I thought we could. But I was in this place of, I actually had negative money in my account because
Oh, uh-huh.
I had to, something went wrong with some of the equipment on the film, and I had to pay something off. And so or at least the fund we had for the movie, the account we had for the movie was in a negative balance. And that was part of what fueled the let me make love to this, so it can feel loved and grow. That's one instance where it has worked for me very clearly together.
Mm. Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah.
Uh, who was the boss because you said both you and your boyfriend
I was the
both,
boss.
yeah, yeah, because the way how you describe it, it was at least in from my perspective, it's a rather feminine way to feel the money, feel into the money,
Yeah.
relationships with the money.
Yeah.
uh, and do you also, because I do you also feel that women have different type of relationship with the money, if you can even formulate it that way, than men, or the same?
Um, I think we can look at that as in a very generalized way. There's a
Yeah,
sort of societal, money is a goal for men versus it's an experience for women. But I don't think that's the rule. I think money can be very much a goal for many women, and very much a beautiful experience for many men, and anyone anywhere in between, however, whatever gender anyone identifies as. But that goes back to that sense of masculinity and femininity being energy states, and we're
exactly. Yeah, not really the, you know, the how your body is formed,
yeah,
whether you have female body parts or male body parts,
yeah,
then and in on an energetic level. Yeah.
yeah. But culturally, it's considered, or at least a large part of many societies and cultures view money as this sort of masculine driven goal. We have to reach X number, and it's sort of driven in that way of like, competition, and like,
Tell me about it.
yeah.
I even got an MBA degree.
Going out and hunting and making your
Yeah,
kill
yeah,
and
yeah.
getting the prize.
Yeah.
And
So
there's nothing
just
wrong
to,
with that.
yeah, just to realize that later on that you can also feel it in a different way. Yeah, you know what? This making love to money story that you just shared with us, it's actually very similar to what happened in my life. When I grew up, of course, I never felt that I grew up in poverty,
Mm,
because I felt like I had like everything was enough. My parents loved us and ensured everything that we needed. Although now, on the hindsight, when I look back, it was really, we didn't have much. The way we lived, but it didn't feel that way. So, but I remember that my mother always worried about money. Oh, will we have enough till the end of the month and
mhm,
stuff like that? And I think, that got planted in my brain and my mind. And so I was thinking, okay, when I grow up, I will, do something so that I have a lot of money. That was like, money was one of my goals.
yeah.
And then I met a guy who later became my first husband, and he was very also basically alpha male, and focused on the money, and he got really successful and made a lot of money in a very short time, because that's when the Soviet Union fell apart, and finally we were able um, to have our own businesses, because in socialism it was not permitted. So, but I also had that mindset, and however, um, our relationship fell apart. We were really young as well, and yeah, but that made me blame the money. I
Mm,
really had the mindset the money is the root of all evil, because I was thinking, because we were so focused, and especially he was so focused on the money, I thought, that okay, that why we didn't last as a couple was because of the money, the focus
mhm,
on the money. So there was a period of time in my life when I was seeking for men who didn't have money
Ah,
purposefully.
that's great.
And then I married one who really didn't have money, but somehow living with me, he also got um, started his own business and got fairly successful. So we never were like really without. I was never really without money. However, in all those relationships, also in the current relationship with my husband, uh, I feel supported
Mm,
by my male partner, and that gives me that security and freedom to experiment in my own business. So I
yeah.
have to acknowledge that my the way how I go out in the world and and do business and act, it's really it's creative. I do it because I like it.
Yeah.
It's not because I want to earn a certain amount of money. I really enjoy everything that I do. All the businesses that I have done and started, it's been because I liked what I did. I felt that that is where my gifts were and how I could help people, my customers, and really enjoy the process and grow. And at the same time, I always felt supported. I
Mhm.
didn't like, yeah, I knew that if something happens, I would not be, sleeping under the bridge.
Right.
So yeah, I have to acknowledge that that men in my life, they have had different energy. They have probably focused more on the money just as such to support the
Yeah,
family, and
absolutely.
um, and I was more like making love to money.
Making love
Uh,
for money.
there
Yeah.
was also one particular um, turning point in my life where I was in that place where I was looking for actually somebody who didn't have money, but yeah, I don't know at what point it was, but I read an article in a magazine, a women magazine, about this what you just described, the ritual. There's had to be full moon, and then you do some ritual with the money, and basically you treat the money as um, something that you love or somebody that you love,
Yeah.
and magically it totally changed the situation in my life. Like I totally got more abundant just magically.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
This sense of,
Oh, Mara, I'm losing you. Oh,
am
okay,
I
good.
back?
Yeah, good.
um, I was going to say, when you talked about being supported in this way by the men and the money that they brought in,
Mm-hmm.
that was definitely something I learned. One, through that workshop, I talked about making money your lover, but then really exploring that concept and seeing what it meant for my life. And one of the things I learned for myself along my own money journey was that I was not trusting money itself. I did not feel that money could support me, money itself, not attached to anything else.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so I had to make that switch for myself to
Yeah.
say, I want to admire your power as if I was talking to a lover.
Yeah.
I want to admire that your power to support me and make me feel safe, make me feel protected, make me feel loved,
Yeah.
give me pleasurable experiences. But a lot
Yeah.
of it had to do with that support and protection.
I
And
totally agree. Mm-hmm.
once I really communicated, actually spoke as out loud as if speaking to someone. This is what I want. This is what I'm now trusting you with because I know that you're my perfect lover. uh, that began my journey of really being able to feel good in my relationship with money.
Yeah. Nice. This has been loud. We started with money, just money itself.
Yeah.
How about um, sex and money?
Okay. So when you say sex and money, tell me, do you want to explore the sense of how the energies help each other, or like getting paid for sex, or using sexuality to earn money? What?
Any or all of that, but really what I already shared with you in a text message about what just came into my mind just instantly as I was thinking how we would approach this was that old movie that you unfortunately haven't seen, as it turns out, but I understand why. I saw it when I was like in my early 20s, and that was already, it wasn't new at that time. 9.5 weeks. It was, it seemed at the time when I saw it, it seemed very, very erotic, but also upsetting at the time. And there's a money scene in that movie. And I saw, I don't know how it happened. I read actually on internet just now that it was edited out, but I did see the movie with that scene in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the actors were Kim Basinger and Mickey Rourke. And so the character of Mickey Rourke made Kim Basinger's character to crawl, and he was throwing the money on the floor, and he wanted her to pick the money up.
Yeah.
And Kim Basinger is a very attractive, beautiful woman with, you know, a very fluid movements. And when she crawls, just those several, not many, those movements as she crawls, she does look like Black Cougar, so beautiful, like a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gets very upset and starts crying and throws things, I just money throws at her partner. And I was thinking, when we play those games in our relationships, sexual relationships, we'll play roles, maybe what would happen if he simply asked her to crawl? Would that have the same effect? Because, like, for instance, my husband, sometimes when we just joke around and play around, and he would say this in Russian, and he thinks it's erotic and stuff like that, and I do that, and it's a lot of fun. So if she just crawled without the money, would it be the same thing? And why, when money is introduced, why does it upset her? What do you think? Do you have any thoughts, or maybe you don't?
Well, I would have to actually see the whole movie to understand their specific relationship.
Yeah.
But, it's because what I imagine the movie wants to explore, just based on your description of her getting upset when he throws the money, is this sense of cheapening women's power.
Mm-hmm.
Or that character may not have known how to handle the sensations she was feeling. That's when we do dominance and submission play, whenever anyone wants to engage in that, if you are new to it and you don't fully understand the energies, it's a lot of sensation. It's about feeling a sensation in the body. And so it can be overwhelming, and you can lose your sense of what is my agency in this situation. I think either way, whether you're the dominant or the submissive, depending on how comfortable you are in the role, you can start to lose your sense of self in those situations. And when money is introduced, particularly a man to a woman, and at the time, back in the early 80s, I presume the movie was?
I think, late 80s, yeah.
Late 80s? Okay. That was a time in our society too when women were really striving to walk as equals. There was a real surge for women to walk as equals with men in the business world, and had to go through a lot of very demeaning situations, where who they were as people was demeaned completely. So I feels like the movie was exploring what is power, and how can it be demeaned, and so she likely started crying. One, if she was actually turned on fit sexually, that can be confusing when you're in a situation that feels demeaning or like it takes your power away from you. So that was maybe part of it. And then him throwing the money at her is a further way for him to say, I own you. You know, I'm the one here with the power because I have so much. I don't actually need you. I don't need you. I can just throw money at you and make you do whatever I want. It feels like it became more of his game than her game.
Yeah, I completely agree, but I like how you formulated it. It was specifically for that character, that because a different character could just play along, you know, and yeah, I am being a slut in this role, and
Right.
that's fine for me because this is just a role, but for her it meant a lot more. Yeah, so why do you think it got edited out then?
Now I'm very curious. I would want to read more into it, but it was likely at the time it was released. It was, if there was more of a negative reaction to it from test audiences, you know, people, whether male or female, getting upset at the scene or feeling too challenged by examining male-female dynamics in that way. It can be confronting the first time a culture really has to see some ugliness that it's doing to each other. They likely edited it out so they could sell more tickets.
Right. Yeah, so this is what happens, like when we coach, we can go somewhere where we cannot go publicly, right? And talk about things. Yeah, so yeah, that was wonderful. You mentioned also other relationships. Okay, sex for money. Do you want to comment on that or no? Or because I don't want to ask you for your opinion, it's more like throwing out some ideas for consideration, because we don't need to state what exactly we're thinking about. Specific
yeah, again, it's these things are so personal, sex and money. So, and when they're combined, there's even more charge, because it's I had heard it put once, our need to receive sex is related to our need to feel loved, whereas our need to receive money is related to our need to know we're worthy to even be alive, you know, because money essentially keeps us alive in most of the world.
Supports our in modern world, definitely. If you show the money to maybe a tribe that is lives in jungles and is not civilized, and I don't know, in some way communicate that it's energy, maybe they will burn it and it will really create some thermal energy.
But at least in societies where money runs the show, that is very true. That without money, you do feel like you're going to die, and die very alone and cold in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah.
So when you combined this, am I worthy to be provided for to live, coupled with am I worthy to receive love, it's a very, as we talk about pushing edges, it's a very edgy place to walk. And so when there's sort of unconscious behavior in both of those places, which there's a lot of unconscious behavior in the world, around the value of both money and sex and your own power as a person. So sex workers, or there's terms, called being a whore. You can be a whore to money, basically. You don't have to be a sex worker to be given that derogatory term.
Right.
You can just be doing work you don't enjoy just to receive the money. Yes. So there's this sense of like unconsciousness around it, people not understanding their own power, their own self-worth, their own absolute divine right to be loved in the way they want to be loved. And that's where it can get scary and dangerous for people, and harm can be caused. Versus you can receive money for sex and have a beautiful, amazing experience because you know who you are, you know why you're there, you feel abundant, and you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, I do believe also that it does a lot of good to some people who aren't, I don't want to mention, kind of like go into specific ideas where what it can be, but it can be helpful for to those people who are receiving the service as well, not just in the way that they are exercising their power, but actually really helpful. I do believe in that.
Yes, yes, I agree with you completely. Thanks for bringing that up. Yes, it's absolutely can be, when done consciously, beneficial to all parties involved.
Yeah. So can we say that our culture is maybe could be challenged? What I mean is that when we look at how these things are brought up regarding politicians, political candidates, if they have, had any events that come, get to, known, so it's basically portrayed in a negative light. My personal opinion is that it shouldn't be portrayed at all. That it's a very private thing and very personal thing, that we are not doing good to anybody when invading somebody's personal space. But yeah, well, where do you stand there? Or if you don't want to share, that's fine.
I think, again, the way in which it's being portrayed in media sort of is just showing us how we're viewing the act. It's sort of, who a culture raises into fame and notoriety and gives so much attention to is just a mirror of the culture itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so we want to, when we're searching for ugliness, that's what the culture is looking for. Yeah. And so of course there's something to be said for the individuals themselves if they are operating in a way that's causing harm to those they're paying money to, or having come have sex with them for various reasons. If there's harm being caused there, yes, that's something to be uncovered and looked at and brought to attention. But when it is more of the mutual play and the society decides we're going to search for ugliness like a sex scandal, that just means there's a unconsciousness and illness in the society around sex.
Yeah, thank you for verbalizing that, because I totally agree. Well, shall we stop here, because I think this was the nice conclusion, or do you have anything else that you would like to bring up?
No, I think this is a good stopping place. Absolutely.
Yeah. So should we announce what we are talking about tomorrow?
I think it'll be a surprise tomorrow.
I like what you suggested previously, that we could talk about art and our art, but yeah, should we be a surprise, or should it be art?
I say we may talk about art, or maybe it'll be a surprise. Let's see.
And maybe more than art. Okay. Thank you so much. It was fun talking to you again. And see you tomorrow at 11 again.
Yeah.
Bye.